Hello, West JV. So we are doing the tutorial tonight for your makeup for your show. So it's going to be a really romantic look, and we're using a lot of blues. Don't be afraid, I'm not going to make you look like Mimi from the Drew Carey Show, if any of you even know what that means. So we're about to get started. So the first thing that you need to do is moisturize your base. And once again, just like in the Varsities video, I'm using Bare Minerals. And so I'm going to go ahead and add that, and I will be right back in a second. Okay, so we have all of our moisturizer on, and now the next step is going to be foundation. So once again, I am not a snob when it comes to brand and everything with makeup, so I get most of my stuff from CVS. I'm just going to be honest with you. So don't feel like you have to go out and buy like the most expensive stuff there is on the shelf. I'm completely fine with something that's a little bit more affordable for you, since I know most of you aren't exactly in a financial place where you can just go out and like spend all kinds of money on makeup. So I'm using Maybelline. It is Dream Liquid Mousse, and it's a bit darker because I'm obviously more tan than a lot of you are. So try to get something that matches as close as possible to your actual skin tone. Don't do anything lighter or darker because it's going to make you look unusual and not in a good way. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this, and then we'll be moving on to the next step. Okay, so I have foundation completely all over my face now, and just like what I had mentioned in the Varsities video, you want to make sure that you're not just like stopping at the edge of your face here and then it looks like you have a mask on. It's important to get all the way underneath your chin and your neck so you're blending, so you don't see where the makeup ends. It's one of my least favorite things when I see color guards on the floor, is seeing how far they went and then stopped. So it's also really important to use foundations. Not everybody does, and for one, any kind of makeup you try to put on doesn't hold as well as if you don't have any foundation on. And for two, it evens out the tone quality in your skin so you don't have different shades all over your face. And to talk a little bit more about that, I have a special guest with me today, and Melody is here to help us out.
Hi kids!
So the next step that we're doing from here is the eye. So we're going to start with the primer, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about that.
Hi kids, so this is eyeshadow primer. Hello, hi. So this is eyeshadow primer. Eyeshadow primer is really important because something we don't realize is not only do we sweat from our forehead, we sweat onto our eyelids. So all of our eyeshadow primers have antiperspirant, like in your deodorant. So when you do sweat, your eyeshadow won't run, and we do sweat in performances. And if you're not, there's clearly something wrong. So you can get any eyeshadow primer anywhere. Not every brand has one. I'm pretty sure like Maybelline, L'Oreal, they all kind of have one. So it doesn't really matter as long as you get one to apply to keep it on all day.
So we have our eye primer on, and we're ready to get started on the color. So Melody is going to describe what she's doing as she's doing it on my face.
So hi guys, today we're going to be using a Sephora one. We're going to be using the golds, and I also have one that has white in the top. We're going to be using that towards the center of the lid, and I'll start, so let's go. Sweet. So just use like a flat handled brush. They have those brushes that you get at like CVS and such. If you use a flat handled brush, it keeps eyeshadow on a lot longer, and it kind of presses it into the skin. Don't try to go like this, like you're kind of like dusting something, because it'll just fling everywhere and then you have to redo your foundation. Not fun. So when I put it on, guys, I press, and I'll kind of just press it first before I try to blend it out, and it just helps the color stay on longer and it doesn't fall underneath your eyes, and you don't have to do cleanup detail later on. Nathan really wants you guys to have like a gold and a white towards the center, because if you think about a star, stars aren't only white. We have ones that are gold, they change color, so it's kind of going along those same lines. So with Nathan today, I'm just going to use a little bit of gold as kind of the bottom of the base of the light color on the inside, and then I'm going to go back in with a little bit of white that we have on top of that, just to make it a little bit brighter. make sure you're taking this all the way just to your bone right here. So not all the way up to your brow. If you take your finger and just kind of feel where that occipital bone is, only take the shadow up to that bone, and you won't go too high. It won't be starting to go into your eyebrows. I'm also taking the shadow out, so if you were to open your eyes and take a look, put it towards the outside of your iris, so the outside of the colored part.
It's a lot easier to guide to that bone also, since I know a lot of us don't have a very prominent crease in the eyelid. It's a lot easier for you to use that bone as a guideline instead of trying to come up with an imaginary crease.
So now we're going to go in with this one. I think is Maybelline collection. We have a teal, and we also have like a darker navy blue. You can use any collection, but usually like a brighter blue with a navy would be really good because it just makes it stand out more from the judge's point at the upper top. So I'm going to take the teal and put it right where I ended with the yellow and white.
You can use a lot of the colors that we use during field season, because I know that we all had to buy blues for the look that we did for like the young girl look. So you should have a couple of different shades of blue in that palette that you already bought.
I'm also going to go in with an angled brush, not use the same brush that I use with the white brush, so that we don't start to blend colors together and it becomes like a light blue thing. I don't know how to explain it. So I'm using the angled brush, and I put the turquoise just on the tip of it, so then I can kind of just dust it on there lightly instead of packing it on there like we did with the white. So I'm just doing really light strokes just at first, because usually when you put a bright color on, it sometimes feels a little like overwhelming because it's really standing out a lot. So kind of build the color so you don't think that you're putting too much on. And trust me, you probably aren't putting enough.
Never enough. I don't believe in it.
Pack this teal on. We need to make it look like the ocean. And if you need to do it a couple times to make the color really vibrant, that's totally okay. We want it to stand out. You want to see it from the top of the stands. You should be able to blink, and they should gasp with excitement with all that teal that's going to be up on your eyelids. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in with a dome brush. Nathan is nifty, and he has this lovely double-ended brush from CVS. So we have the angled brush and the dome brush. The dome brush I'm going to use to put the really dark navy blue on the crease of Nathan's, exactly where that bone was. And it'll just accentuate, make you guys look a little bit more dramatic, and you know how much Nathan loves drama.
And all of these brushes came in a pack, and it's called Essence of Beauty, and the whole pack was like $12 for 4 brushes, and all of them are double-sided, so you're actually getting pink.
So a really easy way to put a dark color into your crease is to just take your hand. You can take a ring finger, you can take a thumb, whichever one you want, place it above your brow, and then lift up so you can really get in there. Put the dome in and kind of just wiggle back and forth. Doesn't have to be perfect, because once you let go of that lid, it's going to kind of lay on top of where you just put that color. So it's just really getting a deeper crease. It's really just making it look good. And usually I'll go back over after I'm done doing a darker color. I'll flip the brush over and just pat a little bit more teal, because sometimes I kind of wear it off with my fingers when I'm applying the navy one. So when you open your eye, it should look similar to this.
Sorry.
If it looks a little bit too split or broken up, and we want it to look a little more blended so it's not so Neapolitan ice cream, just take the same brush that you used for the gold and the white, dust off a little bit of the gold, and just lightly do little strokes with the gold going into the blue. That way it just blends a little bit more, looks a little bit more natural.
Alrighty, so that is the whole color for the eye. What I would do also is take that same like bright turquoise or whatever, and then follow it underneath and go about halfway. So we're just going to clean that up a little bit and do the same thing on the other side, and then we're going to go on to the next.
Okay, so we have the sponge folded in half. We put the color on. Take 2 hands and take at your arch of your eyebrow or the center of your eye and kind of draw a diagonal back towards like the top at an upper 45. Place the sponge and kind of press it into the skin for a second and wiggle it, and it creates a really nice line. So now if Nathan turns, you can see the line. So it's kind of like coloring inside of the lines. So after I do the top one, I'm going to draw the bottom one. Do the same thing we did before. Take the sponge, apply the color, and I'm going to go where the blue stopped. So right underneath the eye, drawing straight to the top of your ear. So you're going to press it again and wiggle it, and then lift off. And again, we have that really pretty line. So then it's really easy for you to color in the line. It's super awesome. That actually looks wicked cool. So now I'm going to unfold my sponge, make it nice and floppy, and just take it, press into the color, the champagne if you will, and just kind of dab. You can do upward backstrokes, just really color in. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're really just going for that really glowing effect. Even if you want to take it a little bit into the blue, that's completely okay because it blends it up more and makes it look like it flows a lot more. Make sure that after you do that really harsh color, that harsh line, you kind of blend it out so it just doesn't look like two zebra stripes. And apply as much as you need. Some of you kids that love to get your tan on might need a little bit darker. And some of you ladies that have more fair skin, you might have to just do this once and it's going to look good. Blend it into your hairline too. We can always take powder off of your hair, but it looks kind of weird if you have like a line of skin. So now that's what the finished wing would be. I would suggest if you have really fair skin tone, instead of going for a super, super white one, go for one that has more golds in it, because the gold is going to stand out on a really alabaster skin tone or a really, really white skin tone better than the white will. If you have more of like an olive or more of a yellow colored skin tone, the white will be just fine. So we're going to apply that to the other side and then we'll be back.
Alrighty, so now we have our wings on both sides, and as you can see, it goes up pretty high and all the way out to the hairline. So it has a pretty wide open look, and it makes your eyes open up a lot more. You're going to be able to see that from up top. A really nice effect, and you really get the idea that, you know, it's something kind of ethereal and whimsical. So we're going to be going on to the next step, which is blush and bronzer.
Hi again. So right now we're going to be using the Trina Tarantino blush. The name is Carved Rose. They actually don't carry it anymore, but anything that's like a really nice petal pink would do. So I'm going to take a blush brush. Again, you can get these at CVS. Try not to get one that's too stiff because we're going to do like a really pretty light look. If it's too stiff, it's going to look a little too like robot. Alright, so I'm going to take a little bit, just get a little bit on the end of it. Now, good rule of thumb with blush, a lot of ladies, you've seen it before in the drugstores, at school, and anywhere else. They like to put blush like all up to their nose or like down here by their lip or up by their corner of their eye. A good rule of thumb is take 2 fingers and place it at your eye. Where your finger ends is where your blush starts. So Nathan, his goes out pretty far. His cheekbones I can feel right here are really good. So you're just going to take a little bit, and I usually just dot a little bit on the apple to kind of get it started, and then blend up, and it ends up kind of being next to the wings that we put on. And because we're looking really ethereal, we don't want to make it really dark, just a really light, so it basically looks like you were just kissed by a little bit of pink. And since we're doing this in one sit, I will put the blush. So next what we're going to do is we're going to do some bronzer. This is just a tri-colored palette that is also from Sephora, Charlotte Ronson. And the bronzer is just like a light camel kind of bronzer, and I'm going to use a little kabuki brush. You can use the exact same blush brush. I would just dust off some of the bronzer, and when you apply it, if you just put a little pressure and make it flat, it creates a nice line. But because we have a nice little flat line, I'm going to use it. So apply a little bit on. Now, in order not to look like Snooki, and we don't want to be Snooki, never, you need to take a little bit of bronzer, just a little bit, and build the color. A big thing of girls is they think the more bronzer and the harder they make it look, the skinnier they are. Take a little bit of it, and you're going to go right underneath that blush, right here. Usually where you can feel that break between your cheekbone and your jaw is where you want to put it. Usually like sometimes the middle of the ear.
The same trick that I gave the varsity is if you have a hard time finding that, if you have maybe more of a round face and not so prominent bone structure, you can just suck your cheeks in And that creates the line there that you can follow.
And again, I'm just going to take my 2 fingers and squish it. Squish. Like you're squishing like a piece of fruit or something. To make sure there isn't too much bronzer on. And I'm just going to create that line. Up and back.
Alrighty, so we're just going to finish up the eye a little bit with the lashes. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my curler and I'm going to curl the lash. So what I would do is like dim your eye so it's almost shut, and then go from the outside, pull in, blink a little bit so you know you have all of them, close, and then normally I like to count to 20 in the holds there. And I might like press a couple times. And then slowly open it and then lift the eye. You don't want to pull down because then you're ruining the curl that you just put in. And then I take like the top of it and go underneath and then just push it up. So you're sending everything up. Yeah? I don't know if you can see that with all of the color that we have on. But then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, obviously. And then you can go ahead and get started on your mascara. So, I am using their Real by Benefit, and it might be a little bit pricier. I get this for free from my good friend Melody.
Holler!
So I don't have to worry about things like that. But again, there's plenty of other more affordable options that you don't have to go hunting for, just at your local like drugstore, like Rite Aid or CVS, and those are perfectly acceptable. What I really like about this one is the same reason why I liked the Buxom also that I used for the Varsities tutorial, is that the bristles are rubber and they're pretty hard and thick, and I have thick lashes, so it's a little bit harder to get a brush through the lashes if it's more bushy bristles. So I like them shorter like that and hard. So you're just going to go ahead, and I like to start in the middle, right underneath, and then I make kind of back and forth motions as I go up to the ends, and then go the next section out to the side, and then the next section all the way out to the end. And I'm going to go back to the middle and repeat. So down, lifting up, lifting up, lifting up. And then once I've done that twice, I'm going to get a little bit more mascara on the brush. Make sure that you get the excess off so you can just wipe so you're not getting huge globs of it. And then I'm going to take the tip. The great thing is that this brush has the bristles all the way around the edge. I'm going to take the tip, I'm going to go right underneath it and then go straight up, and it kind of just separates them a little bit more. To get a really nice look. And then I do that one more time, starting in the center, going out to the edge. And then I'm just going to do the same thing to the bottom. I'm just going to go to the center, go all the way out to the edge. So that is the option if you have a nice full set of lashes. If you don't, and you have shorter or thinner lashes, then I suggest going and getting some false lashes. Even if you do have thick lashes, I suggest going out and getting false lashes. I'm a big fan. So, you know, again, just like what I said on the Varsities, I don't believe in less is more. More is more, all day, every day. So, now that I have that nice and curled and everything, what I'm going to do is get some glue. I recommend going and getting a separate container of glue. Most of the time when you buy false lashes, the glue that comes with it is really cheap and doesn't stay. I am using Lash Grip adhesive, and it's waterproof, which is really important since we sweat a lot in what we do, and sometimes we become, you know, emotional. The lash will not come apart. So I'm getting just a little bit to get onto the base of that. And I am going to go to the outside of my lash, dim my eye, and put it right in the line of my eyelashes. Kind of slightly, gently press it on there. Yeah? So it extends and makes it look a lot longer, and it actually makes your eye look bigger because the lashes are longer on the outside. I'm only putting that small segment. I cut on the outside, shorter segments. So it'll be one long lash, and then I cut it into like 3 or 4 pieces so they're really short like this, and then I add it on. So from there, all I'm going to do is wait for it to dry a little bit. Excuse me. And then I'm going to curl again the eyelash into my natural lashes so they're connected, and then I'm going to go through it one more time with mascara so you can't see where the real ones begin and the fake ones start. So I'm going to finish that up, do the same thing to the other eye, and then we're going to move on. Okay, so we're almost done. Hang in there. So we now have our eyelashes curled. Our fake lashes are on both sides, and our mascara is on. So you can see a nice long lash. I also went ahead and I used a very short angled brush, and I put a little bit of the navy blue that we used earlier. This is on our little, dabbed a little bit, and I used it as some eyeliner underneath. I wouldn't use any black liner since there's no black tones in any of this. Use the blue as your liner. Yeah, so it just gives you a nice sharp line underneath your eye. So now that we're in the final touch, and that is our lip. So just like with your face, how you should moisturize before you put any product on, with your lips you should do the same thing. So I'm just using some regular chapstick, going all the way around, and then I would kind of blot it out a little bit so it's not so moist, but that it's rubbed in, and just so that you're not dealing with crusty lips, because that's not attractive to anybody. And then we're going to take a pale pink lipstick. This is CoverGirl, and the color is Rose Quartz. But again, I'm more tan than most of you, so you might even want to do a little bit more pale than this. And so you're just going to add that on. I'm going to start in the middle and then go to each side. Because when doing a lip color, the middle really should be the focal point, and then it should kind of fade out to the sides. And it's nothing too crazy dramatic. You know, it's just kind of pale. And then over that, I'm just going to take a clear gloss. This is Shine Essentials by Maybelline. There's no color at all, it's just clear. And I'm just gonna squeeze it enough of the tube that I can see like a little bubble, and then add it right into the middle, and then pull it out to the sides. And that's it. This is the complete look. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post comments underneath the video, and I will try to respond back as soon as possible. As far as hair, what we're going to do, which I cannot personally show you because my hair is not long enough to do so, but you're going to start at your hairline on the left side. You're going to go ahead and use a French braid. So you're pulling all your hair over here, French braiding it. You're going to go all the way around to like right below your ear on the right side, and then from there tie it off, and then it's going to be a ponytail on that side. Yeah, so that French braid should kind of wrap around your head to this side. Keep it pretty low so that if you get too high, it's not like pushing it up and making it kind of like a cone head. And also you want to be able to get all those baby hairs so they're not flying away all over the place. Yeah, so you're wrapping it all the way around. You're going to tie it off here. If your hair isn't very curly, I would try to curl that a little bit. If you already have really curly hair, then I would just add some gel or some mousse to it to give it a hold so it's not so frizzy. And then you're done. Hairspray everything to make sure it's nice, crisp, and clean, and that you don't have little wispies all over the place, like you can clearly see that I have right now. And you're completely done. So once again, if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, this is the complete look, and I hope that this was helpful for you. So I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good night.